We just got home from Disneyland. We took Crow for this first time. This is one of the things that we've been really looking forward to and excited about. We used to go for my birthday in October, which is like the best time to go to Disneyland. Leading up to Disneyland, we wanted to get him excited about it, but he didn't know what Disneyland was. So we were trying to just like describe it to him in the best way possible, or the best way that he would understand. So telling him that that's where Mickey Mouse lived, and Pluto, and Goofy, and Minnie, and Daisy, and Donald, and I think that's what ended up getting him the most excited. When you're older, it becomes so much about the rides and going from ride to ride. Disneyland wasn't so much about the rides for Crow as it was about just being there, seeing the characters, he wanted to go to Toontown and see where Mickey lived. He wanted the castle, he became obsessed with the castle. So it became more about just being in Disneyland than it was necessarily about hitting up all the different rides.
For weeks, every time we'd see the castle on TV or in a book, we would point it out, like, oh, we're going there, we're going to Disneyland, we're going to see the castle. And I would call it, we're going to see where Mickey lives. And Matt was soon to correct me that Mickey does not live in the castle.
That's Sleeping Beauty's castle.
And Crow is tall for his age, taller than most 3-year-olds. And so he was able to get on a lot of the rides, and we thought, oh, let's take him on Thunder Mountain because he loves trains. It's not really that fast. It's a pretty mellow ride for roller coasters. And he liked parts of it, but he didn't like the drops.
Yeah, for a 3-year-old,
he didn't like the drops. He liked the teacups.
There's the teacups. He loved Little Nemo's Adventure. He loved
Torture.
Which is torture.
It's the most boring. And that was the one we waited the longest for.
but it was the one he brought. It was one of the top 3, I'd say, for him.
So it turns out our first day at Disneyland happened to be on election day, and we didn't plan it to be that way. We had booked the trip and made our plans so far in advance that we didn't really think about Tuesday being election day. But we decided to stick with it because it's the happiest place on earth, and why not be at Disneyland on such a joyous occasion? So we went, and we had a good time, and we kind of, we knew we were going to be looking at our phones throughout the day, but we really tried to devote the day to giving our son this incredible first experience at Disneyland. But I was watching the electoral counts towards the end of the day and where the states were going, and I started getting stressed out. And when we had gone back to the hotel at the end of the night, I had a really uneasy feeling. The election hadn't been decided, but I definitely had an uneasy feeling, and I just kind of laid there all night. I didn't sleep. I mean, I may have dozed off a few times, but it was definitely a sleepless night, and I hoped we would get up in the morning and the results would be in our favor, but that wasn't what we woke up to. I didn't hear nothing. I didn't hear that. And so day 2 is pretty hard for me, just motivating and just having the energy and getting my mind off of the reality.
But there was definitely, it felt like there was something weighing on you all day.
And it was very much, there was something weighing on us, but it just kind of felt like a black cloud over kind of everybody. It was just kind of a sad day.
So interesting, because there was the sort of like juxtaposition of being at Disneyland, but also having this sort of like gut-wrenching sort of feeling because of the election at the same time. So to be at the happiest place on earth, but to not be feeling very happy. I had so many moments where I'd be standing there with my 3-year-old son in my arms and thinking about how suddenly my rights could possibly be threatened. We got so comfortable with security and feeling like we had already won this battle.
And I think that it's just a reminder that we can't be complacent A lot of times when we make these videos, we talk beforehand and kind of like share our views and go back and forth. And today we didn't do that.
We are obviously very much on the same page, but I think that we do have, you know, like anybody, being that we are different people, like different opinions about different parts or different aspects of this of this past week.
I've actually gotten a lot of messages online from people saying things that, you know, they're having a hard time dealing with their family members, their brothers, sisters, dad, who voted for, you know, all things Republican.
I mean, that was, I think, the biggest struggle. The first 2 days, I really struggled with all the people that voted for Trump because I took it very personally. I could not wrap my head around how somebody could vote for a candidate that would pose a threat to our basic rights, our ability to be married, our ability to be parents to our son, and somebody who also just promoted so much hate and like hateful rhetoric and symbolized a sort of like anger and hatred to the country that unleashed a massive amount of it. And it was a real struggle for me the first 2 days. I feel like I've been able to accept it a little bit more and understand, or maybe open my mind a little bit to how or why somebody could have voted so differently than me.
I received a tweet the other day. I had asked, why do you protest? This kid responded back and said, I protest because I'm not old enough to vote. And then a couple hours later, I'm watching news and this guy on TV is out there calling all these kids cyber babies or throwing a tantrum, and I thought, you know what, that is a real pile of bullshit.
I think it's just important to remember going forward that we have to walk into this with an open mind. We have to remember that there are a lot of people still on our side, and that no matter what, we cannot get complacent. We have to continue fighting, and we have to continue to stick together and make our voices heard.